Hi! In this video with a little bit of sadness in my heart, I will tell you about the electric Abarth. Where does the sadness come from? The combustion engine is unfortunately disappearing from the market. The 1.4 unit has not survived the collision with environmental standards. The combustion engine variant is still available in the configurator, but this is the last bell to order it, because its days are numbered. However, Abarth strongly emphasizes that the electric version will be much better. Some will say that this is a natural course of things, that this is progress. The whole experience area, from an ecological point of view, will not save the whole world. But back to the car. In relation to the electric Fiat 500, the differences in appearance are not spectacular. The large Abarth inscription and the logo above reveal that it is a more spicy version. We do not have an imitation of air intakes here, especially in the more authentic solutions of this type. If someone doesn't pay attention to the signs, he won't necessarily know that he's looking at a sportier version. It's similar in the back. This car doesn't scream that it's an Abarth. The combustion engine version was screaming, not only visually because it had something. The electric version, well, it's a real engine sound. In fact, anyone who has ever heard the Monza exhaust will consider it a joke with imagination. I understand that it was possible to get good samples from a real exhaust and tune it all with the functioning of the electric car, but the speaker will probably never replace the real engine sound. In this case, we are not dealing with a boring electric car. Cars with this drive may have a claw, and in this case, it is a scorpion's poisonous collar. Electric Abarth has 155 horsepower and 235 Newton-meters of maximum torque. The 695 combustion engine was more powerful, but the manufacturer promises that in the range between some speeds, the latest version will be faster by a second. Abarth gives a lot of pleasure from driving. It holds in the early corners is much better than the combustion version. I had the opportunity to find out about it on the track, where we first drove the Abarth 695 and then the electric one. The difference was felt immediately, although the latest 500 with the claw has only a 24mm larger wheelbase and a 60mm wider wheelbase. The weight distribution has also been improved. At the moment, it is 43% at the rear and 57% at the front, while in the combustion version, this proportion is 37 to 63. These are not cosmic differences, but you can really feel them while driving, and the electric Bart was better at handling wet surfaces and could afford more. However, the combustion engine version was more fun because it was lighter, sometimes the rear was slipping away, and you could enjoy the sound of a real engine. Because it is an electric car and the torque is immediately available, driving in such weather as today on wet asphalt requires some habit, and they have a tendency to break the grip. In the case of the combustion engine, it doesn't work like that. We have to wait a moment for the engine to transfer power and torque to the wheels, and we won't break the grip in the combustion engine so quickly. This is a small electric car, so it was not possible to install an impressive capacity battery here. The range is impressive, but according to WLTP, it's not impressive either. It's 265 kilometers. In practice, I think it will be a little worse, especially if we use the sport mode. Of course, the best way to drive this car is getting a lot of energy. There is also the most economical mode, Turismo. This is a mode where we have less power, less torque, less of everything, and this is to consume less energy. A 42 kilowatt-hours battery won't do much, but we can try. Using a fast charger, we will replenish energy in it in less than an hour. When we do it at home, this time can be up to 15 hours. In terms of the catalog, this car should consume something around 17 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. This is a possible result when we are patient enough. However, when we want to take advantage of the potential of this car, if we will drive a bit faster, I think we will easily exceed 20 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. At the moment, after several dozen kilometers, I have a result of 20.5 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. I did not drive very carelessly, quite the opposite. In tight corners, I tried to check how this car will hold. I used this acceleration, which may not be very impressive, but we feel it very well. So for such a ride, I think it's not the worst result. The car has 7 seconds to 100 kilometers. It's a time that would be hard to achieve now because we have a slippery surface and the car has only front-wheel drive. However, I am curious if the manufacturer's declarations will be covered. It is said that this car should lose performance in a very insignificant way. I'm curious if this is the case in reality. When the car is in Krakow for a longer test, we will take the measuring equipment and check it for sure. I will show you now how the electric Abarth looks inside. The difference is visible immediately. However, it is not a huge leap. we will find ourselves in this car, we will know that we are in Abarth. The materials used to finish are really nice to the touch. The steering wheel is covered with leather or material that resembles leather. Here we have Alcantara. It is also here on the board, at its entire width. Further behind it is hard plastic, similar to the door. A little lower we have a finish that could be softer. There is a few millimeters of foam missing, similar to the armrest, which is softer than the one on the door, but it is still not very comfortable. We can open this armrest. There is a fairly deep compartment here, but we cannot adjust it in any way. Here is also a deep pocket. We can easily fit a large mug, some small things. We have a 12 volts output, 2 USB ports. Here is also a port right next to the shelf on which we can charge the phone. In front of the passenger, a large deep plastic pocket. There are small pockets in the door, and it seems to me that a 0.5 liter bottle is the maximum that can be found here. Besides, I really like the seats. With this new Scorpion logo, it looks good. Compared to Abarth 695, which I had the opportunity to drive a moment ago, these seats do not provide such a side support. But on the other hand, for a longer route, when we move around the city with this car, they will certainly be more comfortable. Here, in the central tunnel, there is another cubby, which I did not tell you about earlier. We can store here and one more drink. Today we are dealing with a faking festival, in social media, in stores, in reports, and also in motorization. This car on the one hand pretends to be an Abarth we have known so far and tries to replace it, but on the other hand, it does not pretend that it is a car with sports ambitions. Many people will certainly like this trick, but I am personally afraid that this car appeared instead and not parallel to the combustion version. Contrary to the declarations, Abarth, in my opinion, is now looking for other customers than before. I do not believe that lovers of such cars will agree so easily that they will not hear real shots from the exhaust. The electric variant can be more effective in turns, although it is generally more civilized, but it is the specific rawness the customers of this brand have been waiting for. Finally, it is worth mentioning the prices, because it is an expense of about 190,000 zloty. In relation to the combustion Abarth, it is a big difference because we could have a weaker variant for just over 100,000 zloty. Of course, there were some differences in the additional equipment, but the claw and character were already in the standard. Let me know what you think about this variant, and I thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one.